So that's what we got on the show. So without further ado, let's start with some stories. Here we go. We covered this a little bit yesterday. The Lions have a little bit of a COVID, not an outbreak, but it's a lot of close contact, high risk, and it's all with the coaches. So we're gonna have, the Lions are gonna have an interim head coach for the interim head coach. The head coach is now gonna be, who is this man? Robert Prince, the wide receivers coach. The offensive play caller is going to be Sean Ryan, the quarterbacks coach. The offensive play caller is going to be Evan Rothstein. He's the head coach, assistant, research, and analysis. Then we got the defensive backs coach. It's going to be Tony Carter, who was a defensive assistant. Then the linebackers coach is going to be David Cairo, and that's the head coach, assistant, also research and analysis. And the defensive line coach is going to be Ty Warren. He's the William Clay Ford minority coaching assistant. I mean, this is what they're working with here in Detroit this week, folks. So stay heavy away from the Lions. They're also on the road this week. They also play on Saturday, so this is just not going to go well. Nothing's aligning here this week for the Lions. Kind of a weird week playing on Saturday, end of the season, coaches out, a lot of coaches shuffling around, so not a good look for the Lions this week, especially facing the Bucks. Trying to secure their playoff spot. Alrighty, Dolphins, they get running back Myles Gaskin. They activated him from the COVID-19 list. This is huge. We saw what the Dolphins running back committee did last week with Salvin Ahmed and Matt Breida, and they absolutely ran wild. So now the Dolphins get their starting running back back. Absolutely fantastic. Alrighty, here it is. We all knew this was coming. Folks. Steelers wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster told reporters yesterday, quote, "For the betterment of myself and my teammates, I am going to stop dancing on the logos." You have to do it. You're giving too much momentum and too much energy to the defensive team while you're actually getting really nothing from it. Okay, you're big on TikTok. I mean, that app will probably be gone in the next year or two. It's going to probably fizzle out just like Vine did. I can't see this one being any more different. So Juju Smith-Schuster is going to stop dancing on the logos. You have to do it. I mean, he was just getting absolutely destroyed on the field. The defense, we saw it. We broke it down yesterday. All the Bengals players, they were conscious of it. They were aware of it. You defend your home turf. Don't disrespect us like that. And they made Juju Smith fumble. They held him to 15 yards. They ended up losing the game. So you've got to stop it. We saw that Mike Tomlin was having the talk with Juju Smith-Schuster 2 days ago, and then we finally get this. We knew this was coming, and it just it had to stop. It had to stop for the betterment of the Steelers. There's too much negative press on them anyway, and this was just adding a ton of unnecessary fuel to the fire. So great decision by Mike Tomlin. Hopefully Juju Smith-Schuster didn't make a big deal out of this and kind of push back on Mike Tomlin, and it was kind of like, yeah, I get it. I was going to stop it anyway after that one. Alrighty, Eagles coach Doug Peterson says Carson Wentz has, quote, been a pro handling benching. Yeah, because you already paid the man. Of course he's going to be all right with that. Getting paid, I get, every player does want to be out on the field. I get it. But he's still getting paid. And I think Carson Wentz knows, hey, he's got a lot of leverage here. He can kind of demand a trade, demand to get out of that contract if he really wants to, because the Eagles are once again looking at the backup as a replacement for Carson Wentz. And this goes back to Nick Foles. I think Jalen Hurts played absolutely fantastic the last 2 weeks. Should he start over Carson Wentz? Definitely for the rest of the season he should. Going into next season, I think he's got a real chance for Jalen Hurts to get the starting spot of the Eagles. It's just Carson Wentz and the Eagles, they just really need to mutually part ways. It will be beneficial for both of these teams, or both of the player and the organization at this point. The fans are all clamoring for the backup. The fans don't respect Carson Wentz. The Eagles really don't even respect Carson Wentz. Eagle really favoring Nick Foles over him. Put a statue of Nick Foles outside of the Eagle Stadium. I mean, this gets into players' heads, folks. So I think for the betterment of Carson Wentz in this Eagles organization, they just need to mutually part ways. I get, Carson Wentz, he doesn't seem like the guy that would go out and like actively try and, ruin the Eagles organization by like not being kind of a pro as a backup, not helping Jalen Hurts out, still being a part of the team even though he's not starting. I think that's what Carson Wentz is. Like, that's his character. But he wants to start. He knows he wants to start. He feels he could be a starter in this league, and really he should. He could be a starter in this league. Absolutely. It's just this year the turnovers got a little out of control, and they weren't putting up points. So we'll see what happens next season. But I think Carson Wentz needs to leave Philadelphia. Alrighty, and we're going to get vindicated a little bit here with our last two stories. Most rushing yards since 2019. Derrick Henry is number one with 3,200 yards, and then number two is Dalvin Cook with 2,600 yards. So this man has 600 more yards than the second leading running back for the last two seasons. We've been known this. We've been calling Derrick Henry the best running back in the league going back to last season before we even started the show. I was saying it to myself every day. Derrick Henry's the best running back in the league. I got to tell somebody, so I started the show just because of that one fact, and finally it pays off 2 years later. So not only is Derrick Henry the leading rusher, he's also number 3 if you were just counting his after contact yards. It's absolutely fantastic. Derrick Henry after the contact, he's putting up 2,500 yards, and that's third in the league since 2019. How crazy is that? So this man, you can't tackle him, you can't bring him down, and if you're going to touch the man, he's still going to pick up a lot more yards after that. So he's fast, he's big, he's strong, he's unstoppable, folks. We've seen him for the last 2 years. There was no kind of step back from last year, which was his best season that he's had so far, to this season, which is now his new kind of best season he's had thus far. So he's the best, folks. He's the best in the league. We see Z taking a step back. We've seen who else was good. Trying to think of some good running backs that was good last year. Just a lot of players taking steps back. Look at the top 4: Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb. That's the top 3. So Derrick Henry, best rusher in the league, hands down. There is no debate, folks. He is the best in the league. All right, and then the last story we've got here: DeAndre Hopkins rants about practice. Quote, "Tell those people who say I don't practice to come watch me play the game." We just did that yesterday, folks. This man was the only reason why the Cardinals won the game last week against the Eagles. This man was making absolutely fantastic catches, double coverage, single coverage, beating his cornerback, going up against 2 defenders, catching it, breaking, run after the catch for touchdowns. He was literally doing everything. He had over 145 yards. It was fantastic to watch, and he was doing it, in the first quarter, the second quarter, and the fourth quarter to really close out the game when it was tied 26-26. So yes, DeAndre Hopkins, I absolutely agree. Don't practice. You don't need to practice. We just saw what you did in game. It's absolutely fantastic. He's one of the top 3 wide receivers in the league. I would put probably Tyreek Hill, then DK Metcalf, then DeAndre Hopkins. But maybe these last couple weeks, I think we moved DeAndre Hopkins to number 2 because DK Metcalf has really kind of been he's been kind of sliding off a little bit. Hasn't really, he was real good that first 7 weeks of the season, real high powered, a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns every single week. But we see, the Seahawks offense starting to struggle a little bit. So I think we put DeAndre Hopkins as number 2 best wide receiver in the league. Tyreek Hill number 1, DeAndre Hopkins number 2. You can make the argument for DeAndre Hopkins number 1. I could agree with it if you bring up some good points. But yeah, that's kind of where we have it. He's definitely top 3, and you can make the case for either 1, 2, or 3. I'll have him at number 2. He's fantastic, folks. Alrighty, let's shift gears a little bit just quickly. The NBA, a lot of games on yesterday. A lot of teams getting their first games out of the way. Not Rockets and Thunder, because that Rockets-Thunder game was postponed because a lot of players on the Rockets team was not even eligible to play. They were struggling to find 8 players to play this game because of the COVID restrictions. So they just had to postpone it. Cavs beat the Hornets, 2 bad teams. Are they going to get any better? Probably not. We'll see how they kind of progress this season, but really 2 kind of bad teams that we're really not going to focus too much on. Then we get Knicks Pacers. Pacers last season, they were good, and then they kind of lost, Sabonis, and he wasn't really in the bubble. He's back, and the Pacers get the win, 121-107 against the Knicks. All right, Magic get the win over the Heat, and this is why I was a little hesitant. The Heat were 4.5-point underdogs this week or yesterday, and we were very hesitant to take that. We stayed away from the game because we kind of thought, we weren't really sure how much the Heat would really kind of carry over from the bubble to this season, and they lose against the Magic game 1. Now, get the rhythm back, get everything flowing. It's first game. We can kind of excuse it for the Heat, but let's kind of keep a tabs on Heat. Are they as good as they were in the bubble? bubble, or did they just kind of take advantage of the no crowd and the unusual circumstances, kind of like what some NFL teams are doing this season with no crowds? I mean, if Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield, if there's crowds next season, we definitely have to keep big eyes on those two quarterbacks, because their jumps from last season to this season, it's kind of unprecedented and a little unexplainable. So, taking, advantage of circumstances, hey, I'm all for it, but, that doesn't really mean overall you're a good team when sports kind of resume to what actual sports are, live sports are. So we'll see what the Heat can do this season, but they lose their first matchup 113-107. Alrighty, Wizards. No, Russell Westbrook couldn't get the win in his first game against the 76ers. 76ers get the win 113-107. Russell Westbrook, triple-double, 21 points, 11 rebounds, 15 assists. Classic Russell Westbrook. Let's take a quick look at his turnovers, though. Is he still turning over the ball? More than 3 is probably not very good for him. So let's see what he's got here. Russell Westbrook. Turnovers. And he had 6. He had 6. Oh, my goodness. That's the team high 6. Is it the game high? It's the game high. The second most turnovers was by Ben Simmons. So he's still turning the ball over, and that's why we kind of said the Rockets won the trade a little bit. Nobody's doubting Russell Westbrook's ability to play basketball, but it doesn't translate to wins, and that's why you play the game to win. So we love Russell Westbrook. We love that he gives 1,000% literally on every single play, every second of the game. That's what you want on your squad, but it doesn't translate to wins, and it is truly unfortunate. So 6 turnovers for Russell Westbrook, guys. I don't know what y'all want. Alrighty, Celtics getting a huge win against the Bucks. Jason Tatum being absolutely clutch. Step back 3 to go up by 2 with 0.4 seconds left, and then the refs got in the way and called an awful foul, giving Giannis 2 free throws, but he beefed the second one. He made the first free throw, but the Giannis, who just signed a supermax contract with the Bucks, missed a game-tying free throw to go into overtime. That's who y'all paid your money for? All right. So Celtics get the win. Clutch versus not clutch. MVP last season, getting all the money this season, and still can't hit a game-tying free throw. Yikes. Couldn't be me. Alrighty, moving on. Pelicans get the win against the Raptors. A little surprising there. This Raptors team, not as good without Kawhi. We saw that kind of last season in the bubble. Pascal Siakam had a tough time in their kind of series in the playoffs, and they lose their first matchup here. Pelicans getting the win, 113-99. Bulls, Hawks, Trae Young going absolutely wild, and I love to see that. This man can absolutely ball. He just needed some help on Atlanta, so they get the win here, 124-104, beating the Bulls by 20 points. Trae Young had 37 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. The man is absolutely great, folks. Spurs get the win, 131-119 over the Grizzlies. Nothing really. Ja Morant had 44 points, but he's on the Grizzlies, so he's obviously still not going to be good. We saw that in the bubble last season. The Grizzlies need help for Ja Morant. We know this man's good. We know that man's good. Timberwolves beat the Pistons. I'm a little disappointed. The Pistons were winning this all game. This was one of our picks from yesterday. We had Pistons +6, and they really just beefed it in the fourth quarter, leading all game. And then in the fourth quarter, they put up 16 points, and I think they got outscored in the fourth quarter like 32-16. So Timberwolves get the win. Pistons flounder in the fourth quarter. Unfortunate, but I do like that aspect of D Rose and Blake Griffin. Let's see what they did very quickly. Blake Griffin, he had 15 points, not bad. 7 rebounds to go along with that. And then, what's his name? Derrick Rose, he's coming off the bench, and that man had 15 points himself. So well done, and 6 assists coming off the bench. So I like this duo going on in Detroit, and I really think they can kind of be a dark horse this season. Look out. Blake Griffin was pretty good last season. I think he did end up getting injured, and Derrick Rose, we all know that MVP year, folks. So Keep an eye on the Pistons this season. Nuggets lose close to the Kings, 124-122. We saw the Nuggets go on deep run in the playoffs last season in the bubble, but they get upset by the Kings here at home. Trailblazers lose their first game, not good. I want to see Carmelo Anthony kind of flourish this season like he did in the bubble, but they lose their first matchup against the Jazz, 120-100. And then the last game, Suns beat the Mavericks, 106-102. And Chris Paul, Devin Booker, is this going to be good? Is this actually going to work? Well, they just beat Luka Doncic in, the Mavs company yesterday. So great win by the Suns. Keep an eye on the Suns team. They went 8-0 in the bubble. I didn't think it was really going to kind of translate over to this season, but really wherever Chris Paul goes, that team has instant success. We saw that last year in the bubble when OKC made a huge playoff run. I think they won their first matchup and then they ended up losing in the second round. So very well done by them last year. Chris Paul, Devin Booker went absolutely wild in the bubble, and now he's teaming up with veteran Chris Paul. Can't lose there. So pretty good start to the NBA season yesterday. Huge slate of games. No games on tonight, so we can't do any money makers. We'll be back at you tomorrow when we talk the Friday games. We'll be back tomorrow with that.